What's up, guys? Today's video we are talking about how to level up branding on eComm and social with artificial intelligence. So you can consider this your daily consultation here with Jeweler's Advantage. I'll be your host. My name is Jesse Corby, and we are here to talk about the biggest opportunity today in the jewelry industry. So let's take a step back for a second and consider where you might be at. A lot of jewelers have problems with developing an actual real brand. And that is because they are taking a model that evolved through the 70s and 80s and 90s, being a community jewelry store, and they've essentially just tried to take that model and put it on the internet. If that sounds like you, if it sounds like you just have a website that represents your family jewelry store and you try to take in custom appointments or somehow get people knowing about you, you probably don't make sales this way. We talk to a lot of jewelers that are in this position, and essentially what we notice is a lot of people market themselves the same as all of the other jewelers. So if you feel like that's a problem for you, if you feel like your branding has been the same as everybody else and your marketing strategy is the same as everybody else, and you don't know where to even start with being different in how you market yourself and develop a real brand, then this is the presentation for you today. This is the Brand Prism, and whether you have defined this for your business or not, it exists in your business. That is the beauty of this framework. This is a framework that major businesses like Coca-Cola or Starbucks or Nike would understand. And until today, it would have been really, really hard for a small business like yours, even if you're a one-person custom jeweler, it would be very hard for you to manage your brand the way the big guys do, whether it's the big brands in any consumer product or, of course, in the luxury and jewelry space. So let's understand what they understand, and then I will show you how you can be thinking of this in the age of AI in order to be able to go toe-to-toe with the big guys, but be agile in your decision-making as a small business, which is really the big opportunity here. So the Brand Prism is comprised of some areas like physique, personality, culture, self-image, reflection, and relationship. I'll just give a quick rundown of what all of these are. Physique is the visual, physical aspects of the brand. If you've seen Tiffany blue before, or the Cartier red, or the use of the panther in Cartier's marketing, then you're familiar with physique. That's the visual, creative, artistic stuff that you could consider for what your business would be. The personality is going to be the brand voice. So this would be the type of language that your brand uses. If it was a person, what would its personality be? The culture is going to be your company culture. So a lot of people with family jewelry stores are into the maker aspect of being a jeweler. That means that's your values. It's important to you to put hands on the product and have a relationship with the product you're giving to customers. That doesn't have to be what you do in terms of your culture, but that's what a lot of people care about in this industry. Your culture could just be you care about excellence and you care about being the best. A culture of winning. Your company culture could be built around winning. Self-image is now where we start getting into what the customer sees themselves as. Up here we have the visual representations of who your brand is and how it presents itself. Then we're going through an internal aspect of our brand, the internal company culture at this brand, and then the internal experience for your customer. Self-image is who do they want to become. They're using your business as a vehicle to achieve some type of transformation. In the jewelry industry, that might be buying an engagement ring and getting married, but it could also mean that they want to buy a custom pendant so that way they can elevate their status. Maybe they're a rapper now because they see themselves as deserving it because they went and got a custom pendant made from a hip hop jeweler. This is agnostic across all style segments. So if you're familiar with Air Jordan, this is people that want to be like Mike. The reflection is going to be the external aspect of how the brand presents that idea to a customer avatar in order to make it visual that you've arrived at the correct place. You're trying to become something and we're showing you who you're trying to become in reflection. So if you know who your perfect customer is, and you can represent that visually. That would be the reflection. And then you've got your relationship with the customer. A lot of family jewelers will say, we're your family, or we're your source for meaningful moments and milestones, or whatever it is. This is who you are to them. So this is a very advanced framework. I gave it a very quick overview, but you can see when you start thinking within the confines of this that a lot of family jewelers or private jewelers all kind of look the same. And they all kind of say the same things in personality. They all tend to care about making the jewelry. For the self-image, there might not be a lot of clarity on who the customer is trying to become aside from just trying to buy something. They might not really know how to reflect that back to the customer aside from a picture of a guy in a plaid shirt getting down on one knee to some girl in a sundress that he's proposing to. You see that image a lot. That's an example of reflection. And in that case, you're their family in their major milestones of life. Once you break this all down, then you can start seeing the code in the matrix of, wow, people are really all just copying each other and doing the same thing. So if you want to be unique in the jewelry industry in 2025 and beyond, you can actually use AI to be thinking about your brand in a much more elevated way and do things that should be impossible. Let's think about, what would you really want your brand to be if it could be anything? Maybe there's particular colors that you draw influence from. Maybe there's a historical period that you're interested in. Maybe it's super niche, like you want it to look like something from antiquity or something that aligns with the Medicis in Italy, or ancient Rome is an example that we just throw out a lot. How could you tell that story as a brand? If that were the case, what kind of language would this dream brand use? Imagine for a second, you really can be anything. We have to pull the veil back from this and think, we really can be more than a plaid shirt, a sundress, and meaningful moments and milestones. We can create a whole world if we understand the brand prism. So you could be thinking, what type of artistic influences inspire me and align with a particular type of customer? What would be the personality that conveys this idea? What would be the culture of that type of brand? Do we care about art and history? Do we care about being the best? Do we care about making beautiful things? Is craftsmanship important to us? Then we need to be thinking of, who is the customer for this dream brand? You could be aligning with styles of music, styles of art, geographical locations, something that really does connect to who the customer is and who they want to be in their life beyond the jewelry that they buy, and then sell them jewelry that aligns with that lifestyle and find a way to visually tell the story where they can be the hero of that story in things like your social media. If you can do that, then it becomes very clear of who you are to this customer. Maybe you're their partner that advises them on their important decisions with their fashion. Maybe you're family to them. Maybe you're their companion on their adventures. All of this stuff can become very, very nuanced at that point because you've defined something that can create a world. That would be really difficult to manage before we get AI. Because if you start thinking of all of these things, there starts needing to be continuity. If the physique is, there needs to be a certain color palette for this content, and that content needs to be reflected in the visuals that tell the story of the customer and align with their hearts and mind and their true desires of who they want to be. That becomes very difficult if you had to align a whole team and get everyone on the same page. But the beauty of it is, once you understand this framework, and this is built into our AI at Jeweler's Advantage, the AI can automatically start massaging everything together and getting everything aligned the right way, so that way you can manage your brand the way a big brand does on social media. So we're not doing a technical demonstration today. This is more about the human thinking about what makes a brand and how can you actually stand out compared with all of the other jewelry businesses on the internet, and how can you tell a story that really feels authentic to who the customer wants to become while tapping into a niche that other people might not be thinking about. You have things that you're passionate about, whether it be a particular art style or a particular type of movie or media. Maybe you're into anime, maybe you're into gaming, maybe you're into a particular type of sport, maybe you're into tattoos, maybe you're into a certain art style like Art Nouveau or Art Deco, maybe it's architecture, maybe it's an idea of bringing musical styles into a physical form, something that's non-tangible and making it tangible and building a whole brand around that. That can all happen with AI. Now, the thing is, you might be sitting here thinking at this point, do I really have to do this? This seems kind of complex. And the idea is you're already doing it. It's just a matter of how well are you doing it. And by knowing this and seeing it, you can have the clarity now to understand to what degree you're doing this, to what degree you're actually thinking about leveling up your brand for e-commerce and social media. Because the thing is, guys, this is not a nice to have anymore. Your customer is finding out about who they are going to buy jewelry from on social media. And then on that social media page, there is a link that brings them to a website. If they just go to a website, God forbid they were able to even make it past some bad generic content. If they made it to a website that is just a brochure for a small family store in middle America somewhere without even having checkout options, and it's basically just like a catalog kind of thing, you can't expect to win. And people might not even ever figure out that you exist, because now you're going to be competing against really good looking content on social media that has had some type of brand development behind it, that then brings them to an e-commerce store that might look like it's a big brand. So in order to start doing that strategy, this is the starting point. It's understanding that there is this thing called the Brand Prism with physique, personality, culture, self-image, reflection, and relationship. That's the recipe. These are the ingredients to make whatever kind of brand you could ever envision in any market segment, whether it be high-end luxury or middle market or low-end affordable fashion jewelry. Any of those types of businesses can be developed here. Any type of product that you come up with is going to come out of the back of this. Once you have the idea for the Brand Prism, you can create a whole collection. You can create all of your marketing campaigns. You can create a whole array of all of the different types of content you could be making for social media. It all has to come out of the back of this. So if you don't have any guidance on the Brand Prism yet, I recommend that you go to jewelersadvantage.com and use our free AI tools. One of the buttons in the conversation starter is for brand. And from there, I would recommend that you take your time if you're new at this. This is not an executable, this is not a activity for execution only. It's not just about completion. This here is the future of your entire business. There is a starting point and a clear line in the sand over the other side of once you've made the decision of what kind of brand you're going to be, and that is going to dictate who your customer is going to be. So the person, what your product is going to be that you're selling to them, and the price point that you sell that product at. Person, product, and price are all going to be determined by the Brand Prism. So if this feels overwhelming to you, do not fear. The AI is built at Jeweler's Advantage to make sure that you get immediate education on this concept. And of course, you can DM myself or my co-founder, Richard McCarthy, and we can set up a call and walk you through how to start developing this for an e-com store if you want to get serious this year in 2025. So I hope this was helpful. If there's one takeaway for anybody here, it's that the idea of presenting yourself as a mid-90s family jewelry store that just happens to be on the internet is no longer going to work as people start figuring out how to use AI to make their brand look like a much bigger business and use AI agents to sell to their customers and run operations and do all of the cool stuff that AI is going to be able to do. So now is the time to update your thinking. If you haven't gotten on e-commerce yet for your jewelry business, now is the time, and this is the starting point. So go to jewelersadvantage.com, download our free AI tools, start with the Brand Prism, and this is going to be how you can start to conceptualize in just 6 sections what your brand identity would be, and clarity is the first step if you want to actually level up your branding for e-commerce and social media in 2025 and stay ahead of the curve with AI. So I hope you enjoyed this short talk. My name is Jesse Corby here at Jewelers Advantage, and I will see you in the next one.